county and federal employees received an email with a choice: resign now and be paid.
Okay, good morning and welcome back to the WSJM Morning Show video live stream. I'm Ken Lundberg, and here in the studio today, we've got Mike Weibel with me. Hello, Mike. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you.
And then also special guest Tim Denai.
Special guest. Tim, I'm going to get that on a placard. I like that.
You're also a friend. So
there we go.
Because it's Ken and friends.
This morning on the way in, it was like, I'm one of Ken's friends. That's
you
awesome.
Are. Yeah. So Tim, thanks for joining us. Tim is a mentor, a coach, assistant. I mean, coach. What's your official title?
My official.
You do
title
everything.
Is, I am a. I'm a judge advisor.
Judge
That's
advisor.
My official title,
okay.
And then enthusiast. I'm unfortunately, I've never coached or mentored a team.
Okay.
But that gives me great flexibility because I have a great relationship with a lot of teams in the area. I can come in and talk with them, and no one ever thinks that I'm in there for nefarious reasons, which that doesn't really exist even in the first world, but still. So I'm just very much an enthusiast about what the program offers from K through 12 and beyond. The beyond is I've got a lot of students, former students that I met through the program that are now business professionals and off doing exciting things. And they'll still reach out and say, hey, Tim, what do you think about this? Or share their information. So it's one weekend of volunteering for an event changed the scope of my life.
That's great. One weekend of volunteering. And so as a judge advisor, what do you advise the judges on?
I give them here's the set of guidelines. We want to go out and look at all these different teams and all these potential awards that they could win. And I've mentioned it to you before. I kind of herd the kittens. I send them off, and then I say, I need you back in 2 hours. And 2.5 hours later, I go try to pull them back into the room and say, let's talk about what you've learned.
Because the judges are you coaching them to look for certain aspects of?
Yeah, there's training pieces that first offers that says, here, let's take a look at these criteria. And then also we lean a lot on what the expertise is of the people. I may ask you and Mike to come in and be a judge and without even knowing anything. I mean, you may have an engineering background and Mike has something where he's got a
financial background
or something with community outreach. And
how much does that robot cost after all?
And we leverage those pieces of expertise and a little bit of investigativeness by those judges to go find information about the teams.
Nice.
Okay. Mike, you ever do robotics?
No, they didn't have that when I was way back yonder.
They had they had the little, we got the milk carton and the little straw, and you could put a sail on it.
There you go.
That was our first robotics.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's 7:03. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We'll talk with Tim Denai. We'll get some news, with some weather, some sports, a whole bunch of other stuff. If you have any questions or thoughts, put them into the chat on our video live stream on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be right back.
Landing on a street may have also hit a bus and several vehicles in a Sao Paulo neighborhood. There are reports of 2 people dead. Frightening moments during a mass inside a Spokane, Washington cathedral.
With hundreds of worshipers gathered, a man suddenly standing up and charging the altar, then attacking one of the priests, trying to punch him in the face.
It's all right. Just calm down. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
Parishioners and a security guard are seen rushing to the altar, where they hold the man down until police arrived. The priest unharmed.
That's ABC's Kana Whitworth. While President Trump has not announced tariffs against European countries, some wine lovers aren't taking any chances. U.S. importers are stockpiling Italian Prosecco. U.S. imports of Italian sparkling wine skyrocketed by 41% in November following the election, far exceeding consumer demand. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
It's 7:05 on February 7th, a Friday. Good morning and welcome back to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Here with me this morning is Mike Weibel as my co-host. And then also we have a special guest in studio, Tim Denai. We're going to have the first robotics roundtable this hour. We're going to talk a little bit about what the teams are building right now in secrecy, somewhere in private. They're building their robots for competition, and we can't wait to see what they're doing. So we'll hear all about the themes, what they're going to, what their outcome that they're seeking to achieve, and we'll talk with Tim about that in a few minutes. First, we've got to get some news, and first, before that, we've got to get some weather. The forecast for today, we're just going to do partly cloudy skies, high around 30. The temperature, as far as it feels like right now, it's in the single digits in our area. Benton Harbor is 20 degrees, but the feels like is 7. In St. Joseph, it's 22 degrees. The feels like is 5. That wind keeping it extremely chilly out there. Brisk. Yeah, brisk, Mike says. So just keep it
for the day.
Keep it right there.
Plane ticket to someplace south.
Yeah, poor Tim.
Talking about the new Breeze airline flying out of South Bend, right?
Poor Tim. Tim Denai. He was in. Can I tell people where you were?
Yeah,
you were in Florida for a few weeks.
Yes,
enjoying the sunshine. The tan looks good, by the way.
Thank you.
But I wish you would have brought some of the warm temperatures back.
I took the cold temps with us.
Good.
We were going to end up in Galveston, and we decided that was right when it was going to be like 45 degrees in the Gulf in Galveston. So we changed the whole plan, and we went further south of the cold.
I like that flexibility.
Yes, so do I.
Temperature outside right now, again, chilly in the single digits, so put a coat on. Forecast for tonight, mostly cloudy, low around 24 with light winds. And Saturday, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies, a 60% chance of snow, sleet, or freezing rain possible tomorrow. So be aware of that as you're going out and about. We could get that snow, sleet, freezing rain mix. High around 32 degrees and winds out of the east up to 10 miles per hour. Sunday's forecast, partly cloudy, 20% chance of lake effect snow showers. Depending on how things set up weather-wise, there may be some more lake effect snow than we're anticipating at this point. Another nugget to keep in your hat. Some of the news that we're following today in the WSJM newsroom, the 3rd annual Michigan Black Summit kicks off today in Benton Harbor. This year's theme, a call to action for the Black dollar, Black vote, and Black leadership. The group, Neighbors Organizing Against Racism, is leading the gathering at Lake Michigan College. Group President Trenton Bowens tells us they expect more than 150 people to attend the workshops, the panels, and the strategy discussions.
I hope we bring to people the knowledge, the understanding of the Black dollar, of the Black vote, how important it is for us to get out and vote. If you want change, you must vote. We deserve a seat at the table, and I think it's now time for us to galvanize the communities of Michigan, and let's move forward.
Speakers at this year's summit include Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson and Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist. Bowens tells us Michigan Economic Development Corporation CEO Quentin Messner will speak tomorrow afternoon.
We started off year 3 with a dream, and we're now making the dream a reality. So I'm just excited and encourage everyone to come out to Lake Michigan College and attend the summit.
The Michigan Black Summit starts this morning, 10 a.m., with Secretary Benson's speech at Lake Michigan College's Mendel Center at the Grand Upton Hall. Corewell Health is asking people to stop coming to the emergency rooms of its hospitals when they aren't facing an actual emergency. In a conference call with Michigan News Media yesterday, Corewell West Michigan Chief Medical Officer Dr. Charles Gibson said wait times at the ERs are growing as they deal with high levels of flu, COVID, and RSV. However, he said not all people who show up at the ER need to actually be there.
Unfortunately, a lot of people are utilizing the ER for some of these cases of how they're feeling, and it's not always necessarily the best place for them to go, but it's something that feels comforting. Like they know I can go to the hospital, they're going to see me, they're going to take care of me. And what that's translated into is a lot of people come into the hospital all at once.
Corewell says if your symptoms are not severe, you should reach out to your doctor first. Dr. Matthew Sims, Director of Infectious Diseases Research at Corewell in Southeast Michigan, said the system is busy coping with the ongoing flu outbreak.
Influenza is up to between 25 and 30% positivity right now. So it means that, out of every 10 people who are getting tested, 2 to 3 are testing positive.
Sims says the combination of flu, COVID, and RSV has put a strain on the system, and some of the people coming to the ER could just see their doctor instead. Corewell's message to the community is make sure the symptoms match the setting. You like that?
I do.
Make the symptoms match the setting.
Because if you're not very sick, shortly they'll be able to send you over to the Wii golf course.
The Wii golf course that we talked about last hour. All right, one more story. The St. Joseph Ice Fest is happening this weekend. It starts today. The St. Joseph Today spokesperson Danielle Crevier tells us that the Ice Fest is coming up on 20 years. 20 years of bringing thousands of visitors to town to check out the ice sculptures made by artists from all over. Crevier says people who make the trip downtown can see the ice carving starting tonight.
We've got the professional individual carving. So what that is the carvers will take one block of ice and turn that into a magical piece of art. And you'll see that happening on Pleasant Street right alongside the St. Joe Day Welcome Center and the Chocolate Cafe leading up to Cafe Tosi. So that's from 5 to 8.
The Fire and Ice Tower will be lit up tonight at 7 at the corner of State and Pleasant Streets. And then people can walk around the downtown area to the shops and restaurants that'll be open. On Saturday, there will be a full day of carving with professional teams and individuals working at least 8 big blocks of ice on downtown corners. There will also be some interactive games.
So that's going to be your ice tic-tac-toe, frozen fish toss, ice bowling, the ice throne. Those are all available on Saturday only from 11 to 4. And then our magic tour is at 1 here in downtown St. Joe, and then a show at 2:30 and 4 p.m. both down at Silver Beach Center. And all of those are free.
Crevier says for the best experience, you can start your journey at the St. Joe Today Welcome Center in the center of downtown. Make sure to see the completed ice sculptures on Sunday.
And it's going to be cold enough so they won't melt.
Yeah.
Based on the rain, sleet, and snow potential at 60%.
That is exactly correct. Yeah.
So
I mean,
dust off your grumpy weather attitude on Saturday and get out there and look at those ice sculptures.
it's a great weather weekend for an ice fest.
It is.
Yeah. I'm worried about the frozen fish toss, though, especially with temperatures this cold in the single digits. You get hit by one of those things, that's going to hurt.
Well, it's a toss, not a catch.
Oh, you don't have to catch the fish.
I would think that.
Are the fish just going down the street then? How does that work?
Probably like bowling pin.
I'm just kidding. I know.
Is there a frozen fish toss?
Yeah, there's a frozen fish toss.
I'm this day old before that even existed. I'd be pulling the Olay move. Oops, sorry, Mad.
I was asking somebody the other day because you think about a frozen fish, and immediately I think, you remember the Pike Place Market in Seattle? They throw the fresh fish,
right,
and they're always wearing gloves, which is smart because they're fish and they're slimy. When it's frozen, the fins, can you imagine them freezing?
Oh.
That's going to be sharp.
Could be a lot of injuries.
So you got to wear gloves. I think you have to wear gloves. I don't know if that's
that would
allowed.
definitely be sponsored by Corwell.
And right next door, conveniently located, the blood donation.
Yes, blood donation and walking clinic.
All right, it's 7:13. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Our special guest in studio this hour is Tim Denai. We're going to get some more information on FIRST Robotics. It's our FIRST Robotics Roundtable. We'll have that in just a moment, right after sports, right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Super Bowl weekend, and of course, Super Bowl 50.
What? No idea about the frozen fish?
No, I hadn't heard that. And I was thinking very similar and like, well, if the Ice Fest is this weekend, it should be warming up. Isn't that what happens usually?
It usually is.
It's like we go on Sunday, we're like, look at the puddle of water.
Exactly.
That's a pretty puddle of water.
Sculptures.
No, really, it was a peacock. It looked great.
Yeah.
Tim Denai, so you were down in Florida. You want to tell us what you were doing down there?
We did a little family fun, which was wrapped around. I've had probably about a 3.5-year mission just to get healthier, and it culminated with I participated at a Run Disney event and completed the Dopey Challenge, which was
my gosh,
which was a 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, back to back to back to back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So run through that again, so to speak.
So a 5K.
A 5K. So
on Thursday morning.
So 3.1 miles. Okay.
10K, 6.2.
Okay.
Half marathon, 13.1.
Yeah.
And full marathon, 26.2. 48.6 miles in 4 days.
Woof.
And let me tell you, like right now, the time frame.
Yeah.
This is like when we would be halfway through races, depending upon the length of the race. We were standing in Epcot's parking lot, which sounds more glamorous than it is. Depending upon the event, anywhere from 3:30 to 4:30 in the morning is when you arrive and get there. It was a ton of fun.
Wow.
Disney knows how to do big productions, and while you're running and pushing yourself to a little bit of a limit, what you thought were your limits, you're still having a great time while you're doing it.
So how'd you do in the runs?
I completed all of them.
Okay. Congrats.
My goal was, my mantra basically is my race, my pace.
Yeah.
And my goal was to finish. A couple of those, I thought I was going to probably set a PR, and I did not, because you realize you get to a race where there's a lot of people, congestion's one thing. And then also people are stopping and for character stops and getting pictures and stuff. And it was a ton of fun. Probably the highlight of the whole running event. I did the half marathon with my daughter, which was really cool.
That's great.
We had an incredible time doing that. And, we're, literally, I sent her a message this morning. This would be news from my wife. I have a 2027 goal of the Dopey Challenge again. And then if Disney does events in Disneyland, they have the Dumbo Double Dare Plus, which is a 5K, 10K, and half.
Yeah.
And if you do a half or better in 2 different locations, California and Orlando, you can get the Coast to Coast Challenge. So basically, I can do 71 miles. 11 medals, 6 parks. So that's my 2027 goal.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right. We've got to get back on the air here.
Coast to Ghost is like Forrest Gump kind of stuff.
Yes. You don't have to run it. You just have to do it in 2 different places.
But did you stop for any character things? Quickly.
I only did one.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about that in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Partly to mostly sunny skies today. We'll see a cold day, cold and windy. We're going to top out at 30. Wind chills will stay near 20. Tonight, we'll drop down to 24 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. And for Saturday, and especially in the afternoon, we'll see a chance of snow showers and light snow accumulations, high temperatures, and right around 30. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
7:17, it's the WSJM Morning Show, and we just learned that Tim Denai is skipping Friday morning hockey to be here. Thank you, Dan, for outing Tim. He also says you look great. So, what do you usually do? Hockey on Friday mornings?
Actually, no. That's what I was telling Mike. My past hockey history has been. I played pickup hockey, but I played so poorly that I became a referee. So I'm not the guy that wants to be on the ice, because my quote unquote friends, the moment you put on the referee sweater, they're not so kind to
I gotcha. Especially in hockey, I can imagine.
Oh, definitely.
I can imagine. All right. Well, we're here to talk about the First Robotics. It's the First Robotics Roundtable for 2025, and Tim Denai is a judge advisor for First Robotics, and WSJM is happy to bring you this information because it just fascinates me. First Robotics, basically there's a challenge put out there for kids in our area schools all over the nation, but in our area globally.
Yeah.
And they're given a challenge every year, and they come up with these amazing robots. They have these competitions. They're held in high school gymnasiums from time to time, and oh my goodness, it's like a basketball tournament. It's a sporting tournament. The crowd in participation is amazing.
Yeah, I would say that just personally, basketball aspires to be as energetic as First Robotics event.
I'm with you.
You get a whole different level of buy-in to something.
Yeah.
We use the floor space that they use for a basketball game, but I've never been in the St. Joe gym and heard anything louder.
Yes.
More exciting than the most craziest things. Actually, the first event that I went to was in Niles High School.
Yeah.
And the event, real quickly, the end game of that particular year was essentially we had 3 robots potentially from an alliance that could try to balance on a teeter-totter.
Oh man.
All right? And it's happening in the last
and these
30
things
seconds
weigh how much?
120 to 140 pounds, and anyone else who's a mentor can really chime in and tell you. But you're watching these, and it's like they don't really seem to be able to balance, 2 of them. And then you see 3 robots balance themselves, and with 3 seconds to go in the game, and then all of a sudden the place erupts for something that anybody outside the building be like, "What's the big deal?"
Yeah, and it's First Robotics. It's First Robotics, and so the Robotics Roundtable is our opportunity to bring you the teams, the sponsors who help those teams get to where they are, and then the coaches, because they're important and they're helping to guide the kids. They're not giving them solutions, they're not giving them answers, but they're giving them ways to find those.
Yeah.
And so First Robotics, if you've never seen it before, explain, Tim, if you would, What is it? And by the way, I should mention the Robotics Roundtable on WSJM, brought to you by Cook Nuclear Plant and Lake Michigan College. But for those who don't know, FIRST Robotics, in a nutshell, what is it?
FIRST is a K through 12 STEM program, nonprofit organization. We're focusing right now, this is our first robotics competition season, FRC. That's the high school age kids. And we got together in the beginning of January.
Yeah.
They were revealed on what the game is. So they saw a video, and they got access to a manual, which gave them, here's all the criteria for the game. And now they've begun this process of, how do we tackle this game? What's the risk versus reward? How do we design, prototype, test, hopefully build or redesign, reprototype, test in a time frame that, anyone who's done anything in the real world, there's a timeline for when you need to get it done. So you start out in January going, wow, we got all kinds of time in the world. And now at this point in the time, we're creeping into mid-February and we got competitions in 4 weeks. We don't have so much time. We need to stop engineering and start really putting something together. So
so what's the game this year?
So this year, the game is called Reefscape.
Reefscape, REEF, like a coral reef.
Yeah, like coral reef. So you start out with there is a coral reef that is a part of the game setup, and you either remove algae from the coral reef, add pieces onto the coral reef, which is basically a tube or a large ball. And there's an autonomous piece that happens in the first 15 seconds where you program the robot to do some of these functions. Then we go into what they call teleop, where you've got a driver and a driver.
Oh yeah, teleop. I do that every day.
So you've got, these kids, they live and breathe in that world. I mean, they're doing everything with a modified controller that looks like an Xbox controller.
What is teleop?
Teleoperated. So it's remotely operated by the driver. And so you've got a connection to the robot, but it's not, in the first 15 seconds, it's autonomous. We've got somebody who's programmed, this is what we want the robot to do. There are 3 starting positions that any robot, the 3 of us, can be on alliance together. And you can tell me our robot works best when we're on the right side of the field. Okay, well, mine works best on the center of the field. Mike, how about you? And Mike's like, hey, don't worry. We can do all 3 positions on the field.
Don't listen to Mike.
We just change his setting. Mike's a salesman. He's like, we can do anything.
Right. How many students are on each team, each robotics team?
Literally, a team can be anything from 5 students to 80 students on a team.
Wow.
It's really based upon the structure of the support they have in the community, whether it's a community-based team, a high school-based team. There's so many different sizes. And the amazing thing is I've seen teams literally on my field last year, 2 years ago. I was at, I had the opportunity to be a judge advisor at the world competition. And there was a team from Kalamazoo of 6 kids that was competing and won one of the awards that we gave away on our field. 6 kids. Wow. Yeah.
As a judge advisor, you know what the game is this year. You've seen what the teams have done in years past. What are you thinking? What's going to be the big challenge for this year's competition?
There's a piece in this game this year where they, at the very end, so there's a large trough that goes across the field, and in the end game,
when we're talking about a field, it's a basketball court.
It's the width of a basketball
court. It's basically the width and length of a basketball court, and it's fenced off with plexiglass, so the stuff that the robots are chucking around doesn't get into the audience.
Mostly.
It's pretty cool, mostly. And there are a couple of referees in there. Not inside the robot thing, because those things are moving too fast, but everyone's watching it, and the teams line up on either side at kind of under the nets, if you will, of a basketball court. And so keep going, please.
So there's a trough that goes across the court, middle of the field, and algae is collected, a ball is collected, and they toss it into the trough. So that's the purpose for the first 2 minutes of the game. The last 30 seconds, there is a chain that hangs down from there. Each robot can decide, do we want to be and it is some kid's going to tell me I got this wrong, but it's basically, I'm setting the level that I want to do a dive, either a shallow dive or a deep dive.
Oh my gosh.
If I have a shallow dive, then I can grab onto this chain and the robot can pull itself up. And it can pull itself up because the chain is pretty high. But if I choose to do the low setting, I basically have a chain that's 10 inches off of the ground or whatever it is. The robot can pull itself up, and keep itself off of the ground. So if you think about it, you've extended something lower to the ground and you're trying to pull yourself up. There's a risk reward. I get more points for doing that, but that's probably kind of difficult to do.
Wow.
How do I have to be balanced? And it's a chain link. It's not a solid piece. So what are the physics of that? And, if I'm running into it real quick and I've got motion, well, that's going to affect how easily I can balance. All these things that start to come into play about what to do. So I think that's probably going to be one of the most exciting things is early on, we're going to see teams barely able to get up and hold on to something. And then it's going to be, I can do the shallow one. And then someone's going to do the low.
Yeah.
And that's the moment the gym gets really loud.
And, we were talking earlier this morning, Tim, and by the way, we're talking with Tim Denai. He's a judge advisor for First Robotics and very involved in the teams around here. And he's been involved with WSJM with Robotics Roundup for how long now?
I think we said 10 years.
10 years.
This is about 10
this
years
is the 10th year.
Program.
And so this happens, but the way you're talking about it, I admire your passion for this. Very
There's a lot of
passionate.
my friends that slightly concerned about my passion for it.
I can see why. The things that the kids are learning, creating, demonstrating, that's real world stuff that they can use if they're interested in that field in a career forward.
And even I go back to the timeline, how to work collaboratively with a group of people. And you've got an idea and I've got an idea and it's like, we disagree.
We got to work it out.
Maybe Mike has to be the tiebreaker and go, here's the benefits of both, which, learning that skill set, learning you're not always right, learning someone else has got the answer there, those kind of things. And then the pressure of a timeline. Yeah. And then when it all falls apart, because invariably it does.
Oh no!
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off. What did we learn? How can we improve on it? And let's just keep moving.
Yeah.
Those are skills that just, to me, those are immeasurable. And we kind of joked about, it's like, what did we have at that point in time in our lives?
Right.
Man, this could have been a game changer. It's just, and quite honestly, for me, I retired 2.5 years ago, and in the time that I was involved with First, this program definitely changed my mindset of how I would tackle things that I was not comfortable doing. It was very hypocritical of me to talk to a student and go, just try it, step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then I would go Monday through Friday job. And it was like, Tim, we want you to do this. I'm like, I'm not comfortable. Get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, especially, go ahead.
I was going to say this program, just seeing what students are capable of, kind of helped move me to the point where it's like, go try doing something like this. This right here, sitting here and having this conversation, Tim Denai in high school would have been like, not a chance.
What? Yeah, same here. I mean, and the legacy of this area, the history of the manufacturing, and the way that we've come up with innovative solutions throughout, just to continue to see that kids inspired by that and move through and make those robots that are doing things today that we thought not even imaginable a decade ago. Pretty cool.
Yeah, the two gentlemen we're going to meet in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, they're involved in automation in this area, and their career path has been kind of one that's the same thing, where it's like you learn, you find different ways. They didn't go off to a 4-year school or anything, but there's opportunities in this area, and they're helping to bring these students opportunities post K-12.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And it's Robotics Roundup 2025, and Tim Denai is our guest this morning. It's brought to you by Lake Michigan College and Cook Nuclear Power Plant. We appreciate their sponsorship. And again, to see not only the kids excited about this, but the team's sponsors. There are a lot of them that are helping out, so that's great, and we hope to talk with a bunch of those as we get through this season. There are big events coming up starting in March, right?
Yeah, so March 7th and 8th is the competition at St. Joseph High School, and then March 15th and 16th. So that's it's a Friday, Saturday for St. Joe, and then the event in Berrien Springs is the 15th and 16th, which is a Saturday, Sunday, and those are free, open to the public. Highly encourage you to come take a look at them. Bring your students to those to take a look at. And then also, we're at the point now where you ask, what are we doing? Well, the teams are developing their robots, and there's a group of us as volunteers. We're trying to recruit more volunteers. And you don't have to know anything about robots to be a part of volunteering for the event. Great opportunities. We will feed you. For the 1 or 2 days that you work for us, you end up walking out with a shirt, and you probably come into an experience that that could be a little bit life changing. I'm biased that way.
That's outstanding.
So I've shared some information with you, Ken, and maybe we can post it. That it's a direct link to go volunteer for either the Berrien Springs event or the St. Joseph event. And then also, I think I shared with you a video that's there's a link to just go see what the game is that they're working on and the theming of the game. I mean, if you watch this video, I mean, they're in aqua suits and they're ready to go. So
it's really cool. I can't wait to see this competition. Tim Denai, Judge Advisor for First Robotics, and we've got Robotics Roundtable. That's our first edition. Thank you to Cook Nuclear Power Plant and Lake Michigan College for sponsoring and bringing this. Teams to watch out for. How many do we have in our conference?
There is, not a conference in this area. Just we've got, off the top of my head, there's easily 15 teams within our footprint. And our footprint goes into a couple of counties.
Okay. So a lot of competition, a lot of intensity, and we look forward to bringing that to you. We'll talk more about it next week right here on the WSJM Morning Show. Tim, stick around if you haven't for a couple of minutes. We'll keep talking to people on the video live stream. We'll come back. We've got Bloomberg Market Minute, ABC News, local sports. It's all right here on WSJM.
What would you call a free account that helps you see?
Robots.
Go. I was, from what you were saying, I think about the social skills that kids are learning, and not being afraid to fail. I mean, failure is part of the process.
Yes.
So being able to fail amongst a group of your peers and be able to figure out those skills to maybe be an encourager, maybe be an analyzer, all those different things are probably there's life skills they're learning far beyond the robotics. That's amazing by itself, but those interactions and learning how to put that into your later professional life, whether it's robotics or not, it's something you're going to use.
There's so many different phrases and things you hear. It's like it's the varsity sport for the mind. It's the varsity sport where everybody has a chance to go pro. But one of those is this isn't kids building robots. This is robots building kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's a team down in South Bend, Career Academy, that I've got some good friends that are down there. And one of our judges, he's highly involved with the team down there. And theirs is their team motto is build robots, change lives. And
make sure you're staying on microphone, Tim.
And if you're a part of the program, you realize that one of the life-changing moments, as you were saying, that might happen in that seat sitting right there. The very first robotics roundtable we did, we had a team from the CW Tech team from Coloma Water Elite, and they were in here with the team from Benton Harbor. Lauren was the young lady.
You keep going away from the microphone. Sorry.
There was the young lady.
All the time.
There was a young lady that came in from Benton Harbor, and I threw out the first time. I'm like, here's some things we could talk about. Well, she took that as I need to do a book report, and she came in with like a 1/2-inch thick little binder of like, these are the notes. She was clutching that. And as I was talking to her, I said, I'm asking these questions, and you could still see she was nervous. And at one point I said, so like, what do you guys do? Like, does the robot break down? And it was just like, whew, this thing came over her and she's like, does it ever? And then here's how we did it. Boom, 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 boom. And then literally at the end of our hours worth of time, 45 minutes worth of interview time, I said, and that's it. And she's like, that's it. It was, and that young lady, became really the spokesperson for the Tech Tigers team to go talk to sponsors. At the time, one of the higher ups in Whirlpool said, if you're going to come in and talk to us about that, please bring her with you.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. First Robotics. I love it. I think it's great. Mike's over there. He's astounded.
I'm just looking at the comments. A lot of wows online.
All right. We've got to get, we're finishing up the Bloomberg Market Minute. We'll come back with some more news from ABC. And we'll ask Tim if he has any other things in just a moment right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Stocks closed mixed in yesterday's trading. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Are they using AI at all, Tim?
I'll be curious to see. I mean, so Chat GPT was utilized for quite a few things in the past years.
Oh.
And we look at it as it is it's a technology. So why shouldn't you use it? You don't want to handcuff
Yeah.
somebody, but just like anything else, cite your sources. If you've used something, then cite your sources. So I will be very curious to see how much AI is being utilized. Some accidentally,
right,
and some with full intent.
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't that crazy?
You think about, I mean, my goal was to be down in Galveston, and one of the things I wanted to do was go to Johnson Space Center.
Right.
They host 4 or 5 different teams down there. So you think about what the mentors that are available for the teams in that area and what they can go, here's some technologies. How do you want to use this?
Right.
There are some teams that that are out of the Houston area. They're just incredible.
I can imagine. It's like, because one day you might be building something that goes to Mars. Who knows? All right.
Go ahead.
Sorry. We've got to get to some news things, Tim. He's very passionate about this. If you haven't been able to tell already. 7:35 is the time. Temperature outside right now is 21 degrees in Benton Harbor, 22 in St. Joseph, 21 in South Haven right now. Just checking on the feels like temperature. Oh, we're up to feels like 9 degrees now in Benton Harbor.
Man.
Yeah, it's
Good
balmy.
thing I put a light coat on.
Yeah, short sleeve weather.
Yes.
Let's see. Today's forecast: partly cloudy skies, a high around 30, winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. But they were blowing last night. We saw. I think Bill on the video live stream said, "Oh, at least they're lighter than last night." It just kept howling.
Yeah.
All night long. Forecast for tonight, mostly cloudy, low around 24. And let's see, tomorrow is the day we might get some messy weather. Mostly cloudy skies, a 60% chance of snow, sleet, freezing rain, high around 32 degrees, and east winds 10 miles per hour. Sunday's forecast, partly cloudy, and then a 20% chance of lake effect snow. And we're keeping an eye on that one because that one might set up to give us some more lake effect snow. So just be aware of that. By the time we get around to Monday, they say partly sunny skies and a high around 30. We've got more news coming up in just a moment. First, the latest from around the world and Nation from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Yesterday was supposed to have been the deadline for millions of federal workers to say whether they wanted to take those buyouts from the Trump administration. A federal judge, however, has stepped in, putting the plan on hold until a hearing can be held on it, at least until Monday. It appears that USAID's workforce will be trimmed from about 14,000 people to fewer than 300 around the world. A nasty week for winter weather, especially in the Northeast. Here's ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
A dangerous mix of snow, sleet, freezing rain in New England. Cars and trucks colliding. Ice-covered roads and white-knuckle driving. Accidents littering the Massachusetts Turnpike near Boston. In Pennsylvania, trucks and cars stranded. Ice encasing trees and taking down power lines in Virginia. And now, another round of winter weather will slide from the northern plains right through the Northeast this weekend.
Strong winds toppling trees and damaging property outside Knoxville, Tennessee. 2 people were killed, 3 hurt. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:38, morning show continues on WSJM. By the way, in case you hadn't heard, it's Super Bowl weekend. Super Bowl 59.
That's right.
Yeah, it's Taylor's team, Taylor's boyfriend's team versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right, which is somebody else's team.
And
Tim, who are you rooting for?
The Lions weren't invited again. So
Why?
Or our invitation got rescinded.
Yeah, somebody, Pat Moody was in the office yesterday, and he was telling me that he saw some T-shirt, and I don't remember the specifics of it, but basically it had a crossing out the Philadelphia Eagles, crossing out the Chiefs, and saying Lions. I'm supporting the Lions this Sunday.
Definitely.
Which is that makes sense to me.
I can tell you this: the Lions will not lose the Super Bowl Sunday.
That's true.
That's right.
We are guaranteed not to lose this Sunday. Well, anyway, go Eagles. All right, we've got
Eagles.
Well, I mean, if the Lions can't be there.
Oh.
Yeah. Who's the halftime show? Who's doing the halftime show?
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, really? The guy who just swept the Grammys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Do you think that?
How's Drake feel about that?
I know enough to know that there's something funny.
They've got a beef. Some of the
they say Taylor might have a cameo in the
performance.
Yeah, in the
they're still
halftime
negotiating the contract to see how
Probably
much they'll pay her because they don't typically pay the acts at halftime.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, she might. Who knows?
Maybe she'll go out there and get proposed to. Could this be the time in the middle of the
Maybe
game?
she'll propose to him.
Oh, that could be. Yeah. That's very
right.
Modern of you.
It is.
Okay. He said with a twinkle in his eye. We've got news coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Congressman Bill Huizenga says federal spending oversight that's currently underway at the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, will be a good exercise once Congress gets its say about potential cuts. So you can see there might be a rift developing there. We'll talk a little bit more about that. State Senator Eric Nesbitt weighing in on the governor's budget, saying it's a dud on arrival. So some negotiations clearly necessary there. What else? Oh, we talked about this earlier this morning, but we'll bring you the news story again coming up at 8 o'clock. The Benton Harbor Planning Commission hearing from Harbor Shores Community Redevelopment this week. More about their plans for a new golf course that's aimed at young people and inexperienced golfers. They're going to put it right next to the big boy course.
Yeah.
That's coming up at 8 o'clock this morning right here on WSJM. On the video live stream, we're going to continue our conversation with Tim Denai talking about FIRST Robotics. It's right here on WSJM.
The Michigan News Network.
So the Reefscape, Tim.
Yes.
Reefscape, is it what you expected? The theme for the game, that the competition that the FIRST Robotics teams are going to have to engage.
Yeah, the only expectation I had is when they did kind of a reveal of the theming for all of the programs,
right?
That it was something based around marine life,
right? And water, right?
Yeah, and so if you think about it, I have a daughter-in-law who's a hydrogeologist, and we were having this discussion kind of in this area where if you think about it, we know more about the solar system than we do about what is in our oceans.
Yes.
To the depths of our oceans.
Oh, yeah.
So from a standpoint of just the theming, it's cool, but then also this exploration, the unknown, kind of taps into just as much as we think, well, these kids might be launching rockets sometime.
Yeah.
They could be doing deep water discoveries too. So for me, it was just exciting to see, okay, we're going to have this theming, and then over the first Lego League, which was the elementary school students, the middle school students, their program, and now this one, how they've taken what that theming was and developed it into a game. I think is going to be really cool. And then one of the things that we give out an award for imagery, and it's what will teams do with the costumes and things, the theming around their pits and their robots and what they do.
That's part of this too.
Yeah, that's always exciting to see those types of things and how they bring them to light. It adds another element to this.
Will they have sonar involved?
So probably not sonar, but there are different technologies. LiDAR is a technology where we're basically,
I love LiDAR. That's good stuff.
Where I need to know where the robot is in relationship to other robots and the relationship to the field and the elements on the field. So those technologies, and it may be the very baseline of those technologies, but still it's an understanding for the students to go, look, how can you utilize this in a future career?
Which is, when I told you Stephanie and I were in San Francisco, when we're in the autonomous vehicles, the Waymos out there. Have you ever been in a Waymo autonomous vehicle?
I have not, but I can tell you a number of students that are had been involved with FIRST that are alumni and now work for them.
Really? Do they really?
Yes. Not so surprising.
Cool. No, not at all.
And the thing about that is it had what I think was LiDAR going on all the time. And then you have a little screen as a passenger and you can look and see what it's seeing. And it's real time pedestrians, dogs, trash rolling down the street, whatever it is, other cars. And that's part of its detection system, how it's navigating the entire streets of San Francisco.
Right.
And soon they say they're looking at implementing in 30 different cities around the U.S.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. What else? You curious about anything?
Me?
Yeah.
A lot of things. What do you want to talk about?
FIRST Robotics.
Oh, that. Yeah. No, my son graduated from Michigan Tech.
Okay.
Engineer. And when you would go up there and all the programs that they do through Michigan Tech and whatnot, and the job fairs, and when people come and the student inspired businesses that even come out of that. I know one of his friends was working with a professor who came up with a rocket propulsion device of some sort, and turned that into a side manufacturing deal for NASA.
Oh,
and then he had kids that were working with it for credit, and then many of those students ended up getting hired and working, and then leapfrogged over to NASA, and it just is unbelievable things
Yeah.
like that. Even my daughter graduated. She's also an engineer. She graduated from Grand Valley, and she was on a team. They had to develop scissors to use in space.
Okay.
So it had to be something you could use with an astronaut's glove and be able to cut through a cord. And
That's simple. You just use the big ribbon cutting for businesses.
right. Well, yeah.
Right?
It's just hard to get that.
Put me on a team, Tim.
Yeah. Sign him up.
Yeah. Sharp objects in space. What could go wrong there?
What could go wrong? Exactly. What do you get? Those whiskers with the rounded thing, the round scissors that never cut.
Let's go to the dollar store.
Oh my goodness! No, you're right. You're absolutely right, Mike. I mean, it can lead to amazing things, innovations. How do the teams stack up this year that you're seeing? Are we?
I literally haven't gotten out to being out of town. I haven't gotten a chance to even go visit any of the teams.
We should go visit some teams.
I know I want to go out and talk to a couple of teams.
Yeah.
I've got one that I'll probably be visiting next week just to touch base. I got some stuff I need to close the loop with them on some things. They helped us with.
They borrowed some tools and you want them back.
They helped us with our Lego League event. They run our Lego League event so I've got some things to just close out with them. But what I love to do is I get to talk to the teams a little bit and I kind of find out things. And as a judge advisor, I don't bring any of that information in to the room, but I have awareness of it. So what I really love is when judges go out and talk and they find out the same pieces of information that I knew about, then it tells me that the students are doing what they need to do. They're working on something and now they're selling what they're working on and they're getting that word to the judges. So that's like one of my favorite things. It's just, I'm the only one who knows what's been talked about and I want to see it come into the room. And then the judges can do whatever they want with it. As a judge advisor, I make no decisions. I just basically tell them, I'm like, look, we have these awards we need to give out. We need to get some names into this here. And we need to be investigative as possible to find out the good stories that fill these awards.
That's so exciting. And thank you for your help. You already helped us by communicating with the teams, asking them, hey, who's interested in being on WSJM? We've already got great response on that. And so we'll look forward to having some of the sponsors in as well.
Yep.
Edgewater Automation, I love their story.
Yes.
So we can't wait to share that here on WSJM. So more Robotics Roundtable. We'll come back on the air here in just a moment and make a last pitch for volunteers.
Yes.
So for folks who want to volunteer, there's definitely a need at Berrien Springs, maybe still at Summit St. Joseph. We'll talk about that with Tim in just a moment, right here on WSJM.
In downtown St. Joseph.
Partly to mostly sunny skies today. We'll see a cold day, cold and windy. We're going to top out at 30. Wind chills will stay near 20. Tonight, we'll drop down to 24 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. And for Saturday, and especially in the afternoon, we'll see a chance of snow showers and light snow accumulations, high temperatures, and right around 30. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
It's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. People are just having conversations here while I'm trying to do the show. That's fine. That's fine. No big deal. No,
It's
you asked a great
table. It's a round table. We're talking at.
You asked a great question, Mike. Who's the team to watch? And I think the answer is Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo comes down.
There are a number of teams.
Yeah.
That one has historically been the one that teams will walk in and go, they're going to be something.
Yeah.
But for me, there's always a team that no one saw coming out of anywhere that has that could have like a really cool robot that does something you didn't think about, or it's just very simple and effective.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the way to go.
Yeah. That's so cool. And I love that in our communities, we have so many people with engineering backgrounds to help, but they better not be, doing it for the kids, because it's for the kids to learn.
Well, so this is not your Pinewood Derby. This is
what that happens in the Pinewood Derby.
That's another good T-shirt. Not your mom's.
This is not your Pinewood Derby.
Yeah, the whole tangent, but go watch the movie Down in Derby. That's an awesome movie, and I was a Cub Scout dad. So, But there was a team that I interviewed long ago,
Yeah.
and I took a look at their robot, and I mentioned to some of the other judges, I said, I like this one for industrial design.
Okay.
And the person I was with said, he goes, but take a look at all these welds. He goes, they don't look all that good. So I asked the students, I said, so what can you tell me about some of these weld joints I see?
Yeah.
And it was a female student who said, this one here, this is the weld that our instructor did. Taught us how to do it.
Okay.
The rest are all the ones the students did.
Okay.
So the mentors doing their job, teaching life skills, and now going, here, let's try your hand at it.
Okay.
And is it going to be perfect? No, but is it effective? Does it work? Does it do what it needs to do? And can you touch up on that skill over time?
Sure.
So you definitely want the student involvement. You don't want the mentors just going, hey, come back in 6 weeks and we'll tell you what a great robot you built.
Yeah.
That's not what's happening.
That's what I love about this. That's what I love about this. And so
the thing that's also real quick too is you get a ton of times where you get an adult who says, we can't do this. And the student's like, well, why not? And they aren't boxed in by something that's already happened. They're just thinking a little bit more wider scope.
Yeah, I love that. You need volunteers. Make it the pitch.
So the pitch is definitely volunteers for the St. Joseph event and the Berrien Springs event. Probably the Berrien Springs event is looking a little bit more because it's the second year for that event. But anybody can show up to be a volunteer. And if you're not certain what you would like to do, if you just have some time that you would like to donate, there's 2 links that I shared with Ken.
Yep.
And you can go to firstinspires.org and try to volunteer for these 2 local events. And you can just put down a sign as needed. And we will put you anything from like crowd control to helping to cue the teams. There's all kinds of different things that are out there, and you will find that you're in a great environment with a lot of positive energy.
So the 2 events, the first one's in St. Joseph. It's going to be the weekend of March 7th. And then the second event will be the weekend of March 14th. So 7th and 8th. Do they compete on Sunday?
So the 6th is when they load in Thursday night. And then the 7th and 8th is the competitions, Friday, Saturday.
Right.
And then the following week, it's load in on Friday night. Competition is on Saturday and Sunday, the 15th and 16th.
So if you've got some time on those 2 weekends in March, either in St. Joseph or Berrien Springs, what we'll do is we'll put the links that you shared with me. We'll put it in the comments for the video live stream so people can go to WSJM's Facebook page and find them there.
Yes.
And we'll also put them up in other places on our website later on. But the first place we'll put them is on our Facebook page.
Appreciate
that. No, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming in. And thank you to Lake Michigan College and Cook Nuclear for sponsoring Robotics Roundtable and this conversation that we've had all hour long. So appreciate you. And stick around for a couple minutes. We've got to get to our Moody on the Market update. That is coming up in just a moment right here on WSJM.
Rich Brand and Tara Halsey from Insurance Management.
All right. Keep going. You guys keep talking.
Oh, now it's okay for us to talk.
No, not anymore. All right. What happens to last year's robots?
There's a lot of recycle, reuse,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes teams will, because we're done with the competition, now that robot becomes a great showcase to go into the community, to take it to elementary schools, to let young students drive this.
Oh.
So there's definite uses for those. You'll see them at football games that are converted to t-shirt cannons. They go, because there's no greater hook than going, we just fired a frozen fish at you with a robot. Want to know how it works?
No. Don't give them any ideas. No, that's great. That's great.
Yes. I mean, so those are the pieces that are happening throughout the year. And it seems like right when they get done, I know St. Joe has a technology event that they do kind of May timeframe.
Yeah.
And these teams will have been going January through the end of April, and they're exhausted. And it's like, we want to do this technology thing. And you'll still get the kids coming out there and showing that stuff off, even though the teams are exhausted. They're done.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Where do you get the materials for the robots? Where do the teams get that?
So part of it is we had the kit of parts that was given out,
right.
Which they purchase. I mean, so they purchase that. You have a kit of parts that can get you a base robot. And then It's acquired. Assets are spent to do that, whether that's through sponsors that donate materials or donate funds to get that, and then it's a purchase thing.
Is there a cap on what teams can spend?
No, there's not.
Wow.
The cap is, how does it fit into your entrepreneurial state? How do you have a sustainable business that says, this is what we want to do, we want to keep this going from year to year, and here's our budget. And if you're super successful, congratulations, you just made it to state or you made it to world. Now you need to find funds to get to those things. So
yeah.
How do you grow your budget? How do you talk to sponsors?
Because then you got to ship the robot.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's heavy.
Yeah. They have
doesn't fit in an airline seat.
Or they dropped it.
They don't drop it.
Yeah.
No.
First has a partnership with FedEx for
one.
Okay. But it's funny you should say this, fitting into an airplane seat, because I've done the world competition. So talking to a team from Mumbai.
I'm going to have to pause you right there. In just a moment, we'll be back.
West Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Tim, I feel like there's going to have to be a part 2 with you.
There always
It's the WSJM Morning Show, 7:55. Time for your Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And something we posted this morning on moodyonthemarket.com. You can go see this full article, but we put it up this morning, and it's all about the mason jar. I mean, people love the mason jar. I mean, the pancakes alone, it's so good.
Steak and eggs.
Yeah, is that your go-to?
That's my go-to. When I heard your announcement this morning, I freaked out that they're closed for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. It's just going to be 2 weeks. But Mason Jar, they have decided to do a major renovation. They're going to sink about somewhere between $800,000. Maybe we'll see if they stick to that. I hope they do. $800,000 in a renovation. It's going to double the size of the kitchen. It's going to add 4 new bathrooms. It's going to put in a formal bar and barista area. They've got to put a new roof on, so they're going to do that. They got to do a new fire suppression system, so they're going to do that. And the employees, I asked about the employees, and they said, they are amazing. Abel said they're one hell of a team, and here's why: because when they said we're going to do a renovation, the wait staff said, "How can we help?" During that period of time, he thought they all wanted to take time off and go on vacation or something like that. And they said, no, we want to help with the project. Give me a hammer, I'll help with the demolition. Give me a brush, I'll help with the painting.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so they're going to be doing what they can.
Right.
Obviously, the fire suppression system, somebody else is going to do that. But they're going to help.
DIY that would.
But they're going to close for 2 weeks for this. And the whole renovation is not going to be done in 2 weeks. I've seen the DIY shows. It doesn't happen like that. But what they're going to do is they're going to close for 2 weeks, do a good bit of whatever they can do, and then they say they're going to reopen, and they're going to borrow Grand Mayor's food truck as their temporary kitchen as they continue to serve people and finish the renovation.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, talk about great Southwest Michigan collaboration.
That sounds good, but I'm hearing food truck towards the end of February. Let's hope the groundhog was wrong.
How they're going to structure that? Great question. Yeah. Great question. But they say it's going to be an abbreviated menu.
Right.
And they'll probably send their wait staff out into the cold to get your steak and eggs. So
that's fine.
Yeah. As long as I can have my food. All right. So you can read that article. It's posted right now at moodyonthemarket.com. A major renovation at Mason Jar. Good news. Investing in the Arts District. Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. It's 7:58. It's the 7th day of February. It's the WSJM Morning Show. This morning, we've had the opportunity and pleasure to talk with Tim Denai. Tim, any parting words here before we get to ABC News?
Thank you guys for your time, and look forward to hearing more from the teams that you get to talk to in the upcoming weeks. That's the exciting stuff, is talking with the students.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we thank you for your volunteerism and your involvement in the program. First Robotics wouldn't be the same without it. So as a judge advisor, what do you think your biggest challenge is going to be this year?
Getting those judges back in the room after talking to kids. And it's a great problem to have.
They just loved spending time with the kids.
Yeah, I am a I feel I'm a good judge advisor. I'm a horrible judge because every interview is about 45 minutes long and we get nothing accomplished.
I have no idea how that would happen. All right. Well, it's 7:59. We've got, well, thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. And don't be a stranger. You keep coming back into the studio. We appreciate you. Today's forecast, partly cloudy skies, a high around 30 degrees, northwest winds 10 to 15. Tonight's forecast, mostly cloudy with a light wind. And then tomorrow's going to be the interesting day. Mostly cloudy skies with a 60% chance of a snow, sleet, freezing rain thing possible. So it's not going to be a good golf day. High around 32 degrees, east winds 5 to 10 miles
What
per
if
hour.
it's just a little golf day?
Yeah, you could with the small holes, the wee little course. So the winds are going to be out of the east 5 to 10 miles per hour and a high around 32. So tomorrow could be a messy weather day, and then Sunday, we're keeping an eye on the lake effect snow. It's partly cloudy in the forecast right now with just a 20% chance of lake effect snow showers and a low around 25 and a high around 30. But if the wind hits up and sets up just right, we could get some more lake effect snow than we're thinking right now. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock. ABC News now.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry.
Tim, thank you so much. We appreciate you. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. I think we're going to have to do Thursday.
Okay.
But let me confirm that.
Okay.
And I'll do that today, and we'll bring the folks in and we'll have a good discussion.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. So
Thank
the
you
link
for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. The links for volunteering and to watch the video on Reefscape, the game that the competitors are going to be focused on this year. We'll put those in the video live stream Facebook area. You all have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. All right. Bye.
Bye.